Hello, and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan read-through podcast. My name is Peter Bond. I have read every book in the main series, and with me today are my friends reading the series for the first time. It's my friend and closest confidant, India Jones. How are you?
I'm so tired. Good morning.
Good morning. It's the AM in the United States of America, and just south of India Jones in the little city of brotherly love, Anthony Fileri. AJ, how are you doing?
Fully doxing me. Hello, it's me here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I fully doxed you.
Yeah.
AJ, you edit the show. You can bleep that out if you want. So
I just edit out the entire bit.
I actually had a thought. Maybe we should just dox people. What do you think? You know,
It's fun, flirty doxing. I like
all right.
it.
Okay. We won't do it then. Okay, everyone. Fine. All right, Josh. Welcome back to the show. It's been so long since I've talked to you. How are you doing?
Delightful. No nickname today?
The Dream Snaker. There. Are you
Oh,
satisfied?
the classic.
Are you happy
classic.
now?
The classic.
We have a lot to get to today. It's the beginning of the end of this book here. We just started part 4. So we are tolling the Hounds.
Ding dong.
And so before we get into it, though, I just like just a quick check-in. How are my 3 friends doing?
I'm good.
The end is not approaching fast enough.
Of life or this book?
Of life. Wow.
Of life and this book.
Okay.
I got
Sure.
bad news, India. We have 2 more after this.
And people like this one, India.
But when you think about it, we used to have even more books left to read.
That's true. That's
God,
true.
I forgot you took that philosophy class in undergrad.
Yeah, you know, you saw I bought a lava lamp. I really got in touch with kind of the deep works of life.
Glass half full.
How are you, Pete?
How am I?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, okay.
No
right.
follow-up questions. Doing great.
What kind of bagel did you have this morning?
I had an everything bagel.
Was this like a bakery bagel, or is this just like a Thomas's bagel?
This is a Thomas level bagel. Not that many
Yeah,
fresh
that's fine.
bagels by me, but
Hey.
Let's go around the horn. Everyone give us your go-to order involving a breakfast. I'm
Oh, fuck.
easy.
Wait.
A nice...
Wait. I just first want to say, only New York has good bagels.
Okay, had to get it out there. Had to get that. All right, I'll go first. When I'm in New York and I'm allowed to eat a bagel because it hits the standard of excellence, I'll go with a nice egg bagel with some Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. It's my go-to.
I don't know how much they're doing Taylor ham in New York, Josh.
Yeah,
They're
fuck.
not.
All right,
They're doing it in Jersey, though. They're doing it in Jersey.
and Jersey bagels are fine. All right, and
Yeah,
although
Jersey
the-
bagels are North Jersey has good bagels. New York has good bagels, and Philadelphia has one good bagel shop.
Yeah.
Shout out. I know exactly the shop you're talking about.
No, you don't. You've never been to it.
You don't know that. Fuck you.
I do know that. You've never been to it. It opened last year.
Okay, well, let's talk about this off mic, because I believe Philly has some other good bagel stores. So
You're wrong. I'm sorry. I've been to the one that you think is the best one, and it's fine.
it is fine. I think there are other good bagel stores. Anyway,
Okay.
Guys, for once I have to step in and say this is unlistenable, so it's pretty rough then.
Look, if you're in Philadelphia, go to Korshak Bagels. They're really, really good. Anyway, I get a bacon, egg, and cheese usually.
Like Rorschach?
No, like Korshak.
I'm just like, what it is it's not that I have some deep love for Philly bagels. Obviously, I just resent the New York bagel take. You know, it's like,
Yeah, for sure.
I
Get
do
a-
agree.
it's
Yeah.
like-
Yeah, I can understand when you're not fucking from there. Of course you resent it. You guys
I was
are
gonna
good
say-
at nothing.
God,
Like
Indy.
Philly
All right,
is
well,
good
as
for
you know what?
nothing. New York has everything.
That's fine. As a Marylander, none of you are allowed to eat crabs anymore. There we go.
Wow.
That's the food I get to say you can't have.
oh, Josh is a Marylander now.
Yeah.
Well, as a native Delawarean, there's fucking nothing I can tell you to not do other than pay sales tax, I guess.
India, next time you
That's
come to
the
Philly, we'll go
best.
get bagels.
All right, let's get into
No, what the fuck? I didn't get to talk about my bagel.
I'm very sorry. I just felt like we got to. I didn't even talk. Okay, Inge. Yes, please.
Okay. Mine is egg whites with peppers and onions,
Ooh.
provolone cheese, and double bacon. on a whole wheat everything.
That's a lot.
Hell yeah.
Whole
dude.
wheat
You just-
everything.
You just knew it.
That's a good pull. AJ, your favorite bagel sandwich?
I already said it, baby. It's bacon. I just get a bacon, egg, and cheese with Swiss.
Oh, a Swiss.
On what type of bagel?
It depends. Sometimes, like typically, I guess everything bagel, but there are some places that don't have good everything bagels. So I'll get like a cinnamon
I
raisin
bet there
That's
are.
true.
I bet there are.
because I love a bacon, egg, and I love the sweet and salty. So I love getting a bacon, egg, and cheese on a cinnamon raisin.
Okay, great.
You know, I really feel like before I was so anti having small chalk at the start of the show. And then today I was like, we got so much stuff to get to. We should get right into it. But then I just left an inch open and Josh just bursts in with another cocktail chatter question.
That's my specialty.
Well, PB, what's your sandwich?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm not a huge bagel sandwich head.
Clearly.
They're okay. I don't hate
How
them.
could you be?
Oh my God. I eat them all the time. It's just like, I don't know. I think there are better ways to have bagels, my official opinion. So
That
Okay,
is
well,
true.
what is it then?
Yeah,
What
it
is
doesn't
the
have
way?
to be a sandwich.
I think
What
just
do you-
slop with the cream cheese.
well, that's what I mean. Like, let's explore just like a good bagel with some good cream cheese. This is like, don't overcomplicate it. My official opinion.
I feel that.
I don't need all the fixins. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just plain, plain.
Please, not a plain bagel. There's so many great types of bagels, though. Listen, literally one of my favorite foods. We can't just we maybe a salt bagel. I'm a big fan of a
Salt bagel.
Salt bagel
No one ever orders a salt
A
bagel.
salt bagel with cream cheese, I think, is like the perfect combo. I think a salt bagel with anything else is too much, but I think a salt bagel with cream
Agreed.
cheese is like.
I'm out of here. You guys are horrible.
I like a French toast bagel every now and again.
Oh,
Me
no
too.
way, Josh. No
Love
way.
a French toast bagel. Love a French toast bagel.
Thank you, Andy. With like a nice sweet schmear, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, we are
Absolutely.
now-
Cinnamon walnut apple one.
Yes, India, stand in that truth.
This is going to be really isolating content for people who don't even realize that there's like a bagel beef. Like people who have just grown up with Thomas bagels and have been the norm.
But hey, but you know what?
That's embarrassing.
That's how I grew up.
This will be an eye-opening episode for them because they'll understand that they need to get the fuck up right now and go find a good bagel.
Yeah, that's why they tuned into the 10 Very Big Books broadcast, is to be bullied about their bagel taste.
Yeah.
Also, something about calling the podcast a broadcast is really scratching an itch for me.
Yeah, I'm sure radio major, so.
Radio major.
All
We're
right,
just a couple of bagel broads.
just a couple of bagel broads hanging out talking about the bagels.
The BB in TVBB stands for Bagel Broads.
All in, baby. All right,
It's been 10 minutes. We have to move on.
legitimately, I was like, we were on the clock. We gotta go. All right, let's start, actually.
Yeah,
let's
let's
start
do it.
Chapter 19. Murillo's body is brought through the Tuox Gate into the city. Cutter reflects on if he truly loves Chalice, and he goes to meet her. She tells him that Gorlas knows about the affair, and Crocus thinks she is excited by the idea. Chalice won't run away. She wants him to kill Gorlas. Venaz heads into the mine to find Harlow. Inside, Harlow talks with Bainisk. Bainisk speaks about how someone came to fight for him and how he was killed. The two start crawling through the tunnels together to get to Darujistan. They rappel down a rope and then spot Venaz at the top, following them. At Kroll's bar, Fisher says the contract on the Malazans is over. Picker lays in a coma, and Blend and Ansi speak of weapons. Scalara sets off with Ansi and Blend to see Barathol. Baruch visits the Temple of Shadow, where Mogara almost cures him, and he hears from Shadow Throne. Lady Envy plans to go find Lady Spite, so she tells Chower to remain by himself. Mies finds Murillo's body and is struck by grief. And Cutter is the next one to arrive. He hears about what happened and goes to find Gorlas. Belen Nam goes with the children and drops them off to Stony. He confronts her about the consequences of her actions. Shard and Lim goes to Chalice. She is surprised to see him. They speak about her husband and Crocus. Chardon forces himself on her. Harlow falls to the ground and survives, but Bainisk is badly wounded. Harlow holds his friend, and Bainisk slowly dies. Krupp shows a tableau of the city, including Crocus walking towards the mines, alone. So, India. These three chapters, and it continues, the kind of Krupp is narrating the book. The pedal really hits the floor with it, and I would say. And it really comes to the forefront. And Inge, I would just how is that stylistic decision vibing with you? And what did you think about so much such overt storytelling narration?
Well, I don't know. I don't really it doesn't bother me per se. I think it's fine. I have no real preference about it. It's different, and I also don't really love Krupp, but the audiobook is kind of annoying to listen to that voice. But I like it's not bad. It's not bad. I really don't have a preference. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. AJ, what did you think about this kind of stylistic change? You had remarked on it earlier in the season.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I think this is a really interesting device to use Krupp's voice as the omnipotent omnipotent narrator, omniscient narrator, whatever. But I think in chapter 19 specifically, it really, really illustrates the point that Krupp is telling a story, because we start the chapter with "the soul knows no greater anguish than to take a breath that begins in love and ends with grief," and then we end the chapter with almost that exact same line. It's oh, Krupp is telling a story here. But I don't know, I liked it, and we also in the beginning here, it lasts for a couple of paragraph breaks, which usually they only go for one chunk of the section, but we're now really crossing the paragraph breaks and stuff, and there's lines but the round man digresses, or he's reeling himself back into telling the story or whatever. I loved it. I thought it was great. I was having a great time with it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's been there since the beginning of the book, but I think it builds, and definitely in this last section it is very pronounced. And as you're touching on, the chapter kind of begins and ends with this same motif, and it's very clear that Krupp is telling the story in a very literal sense. There's a lot of attention being drawn to the storyteller in that sense. Mm-hmm. But to touch on this actual theme of this, there's no greater badness.
No greater anguish than to take a breath that begins in love and ends with grief.
It's a really fucking good line.
It's a really good line.
It is. I feel that.
Yeah, it's a very, same. It's it's a very articulating a very bad feeling, Mm-hmm. And it's definitely kind of the motif throughout this chapter, and the same way as we kind of starts with Murillo's body as it's kind of traces through the city. Josh, how did did you feel this kind of theme of grief in this chapter as we kind of traced Murillo through? He dies in the last one, but this chapter is definitely more about kind of mourning him, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. No, I thought this was I guess I was sadder in the moment when he first died, but this kind of cemented how much there's so many deaths in this story that there's not enough time for us to see the grief. And so I thought this one was even more sad because of how long we were able to see its effects on everybody. Even more so in some ways than when we lost the bridge burners earlier this book.
Mm.
Because these are book one characters that we've known for like 3 years now that are sad.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is kind of the OG crew in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
We can touch on that a bit more in a sec, but speaking about characters we've been following a long time, we pick up with Cutter, who goes to see Chalice, and they kind of have this interaction, you know, Gorliss knows about what's going on, and they kind of talk about what might happen. In India, what did you make of this scene? I mean, obviously we know kind of how this follows up, but how do you think Cutter really feels about Chalice? And like what's your read on what Chalice really wants out of Cutter here, you know?
I don't fully know what Cutter. I don't think he loves her. He used to be such a hopeless romantic. I don't really know what happened. Now I think that he maybe is just like feeling a little nostalgic. Maybe it makes, I don't know. So do I think he loves her? No. Do I think that he enjoys, maybe it's like distracting. I don't know. Because he also says like it doesn't feel, I don't know what the fucking boy is feeling. But I think more interesting, because I don't really like Cutter and I don't really care how he feels.
Okay. More interesting.
Chalice, she is so crazy. I think that she's literally like, I don't think she gives a single fuck about him. I think that she is just like a fucking bird in a cage, looking for entertainment, trying to feel something, which like kind of is even more like shown when she's like, hey, he knows and he wants to kill us. And Cutter's like, well, let's leave. She's like, no, you kill him, duh. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's just like I don't even know. Like, she's just pure chaos. Like, she is pure chaotic energy.
You're saying Chalice has been corrupted by the crippled god, India? It's a bold take. That's a bold take.
India, you say you think she like doesn't care about him at all. AJ, Josh, I wonder what you think about that.
Oh, I'm with India. The moment Gorliss dies, she goes, wait. Breaks up with Cutter 100% within like a week. They're both just in their hoe phase, dude. They got to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think it's intentionally like manipulative or anything, but like she has one line in this first section. I want my life as it is, Cutter, only without him. I want you instead of him. That's how I want it. But like that's just not possible because she is where she is because of Gorliss. And if he's gone, then she can't just like replace him with some random dude.
Yeah, she is a full-blown child of privilege and does not, she just doesn't know what she wants because she's never wanted.
Damn.
You don't think she's ever wanted?
If she's never wanted and then not been given, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that though. She is like a princess in a tower kind of in some ways. Like she can't really like, I don't know, what does she have going on? I'm sure she wants a lot of things. But then again,
that's what I'm saying. She wants what she doesn't have, but then when she gets what she doesn't have, now she has it, and now she no longer wants it. You know what I mean? Like she's just always chasing what she doesn't have. I don't think she has a clear idea of what the goal is.
But I think what's difficult, and this is what's so cruel about this scenario and people trapped like this, is because it's getting at what the quote AJ read, where it's like she wants to not feel the pain of this, like not be hurt by the system, but she's unwilling to, like, she can't imagine a different path out of it. She can't imagine breaking free of the scenario she's in, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If she wanted to be with Cutter, the line wouldn't be, I want my life as it is, but with you. Like,
exactly.
Because that just doesn't exist. Like that thing does not exist.
Exactly. It's like, no, it's there. You need to think of a new thing. It's like, it's like you need to be able to imagine that path, but interesting. Obviously, we can talk a little bit more about this in chapter 21. So I did want to move on to talking about the whole sequence, which kind of goes throughout the whole chapter. We should talk about it now, about Harlow and kind of what's going on with him and Bainisk. AJ, you gave me a sigh. Kind of a sigh-worthy section.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about it, man. It's a sigh-worthy section. Like they're traveling through this fucking mine shaft and trying to get out, and Bainisk has these, flowery visions of what the real city is like, and Harlow has been in the city, but he also loves his friend and is like, yeah, it's definitely like that. Let's go. And then we know how it ends up. It's really, really sad. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's really fucking sad.
It is.
I mean, there's some beautiful lines in here, but I haven't highlighted any of them, so I will have to flip and find one. But Josh, what did you think?
There's so many mean children in this book specifically, and it really gets me down because you want to hate mean children. It's very easy to hate them. But then if you think about it for more than a second and you think about what led them to that situation, it's hard to hate them. You want to give sympathy. But then that little boy later tries to choke Harlow to death, and then you're back to hating him. So I feel very conflicted about whatever the Venaz.
Yeah.
I think it's because you're a teacher. I feel no conflict. I want to fuck that little kid up.
Okay.
I hate that child. I literally all of that. Oh, you're so right about that. These kids are vicious.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so sad how it is sad when he dies.
This whole book, one of the themes throughout this whole book is that I guess this whole series really is about the victims of the system, and there was this question raised last book or the book before, who are the fallen, and stuff in this book of the fallen. And I think some of the fallen are these people who are victims to this system. And it's just hard, I obviously we feel bad for Harlow and Bainisk, but then there's Venaz, and I'm not really sure exactly what Snell's deal is, but Venaz is also a victim of this system.
No, Snell's bad. We can accept that Snell's bad.
I don't know. I think
they're sociopath level. They're
yes. Yeah.
Psychopaths.
Yeah, Snell's different than the other ones.
But even Snell's parents, they also suffered in a way because of the way that their society is. I don't know. It's just a lot. It's just a lot about systems, and it's just this Venaz stuff I think is complicated. But in the end of the section, when Harlow's we made it, the city's really beautiful, and then just starts talking about a beautiful mother and a strong father, so happy to see you. It's just so sad. It's just
I want
so
a
sad.
strong mother and a beautiful father.
Yeah, give me a strong mom. Where the strong moms at?
Preach.
Pete, what'd you think?
Harlow's a good guy. No, I mean, to touch on what you're saying, I think Venaz is a part of a long line of characters in the series who I think you are kind of challenged to try and sympathize with. And I think obviously that bridge is easier to cross with some people than others. And especially when it comes to people who are air quotes villainous. They're definitely, the books have more sympathetic villains, and then I do think there are people in it who are given very little redeeming qualities. It's just oh yeah, there's very but Snell's he was good that one time, It's yeah, no, he was. I mean, he's a kid. I think that's the context in which you have to kind of talk about that type of cruelty. But it's still, I think, hard to cross that bridge sometimes. But what would a Covian do?
He'd accept.
WWID.
So let's follow Murillo's corpse, and
Jesus Christ.
We kind of see various people grieving it at the Phoenix Inn. Cutter and Ralik-Nam show up eventually. Cutter goes out on a plan, and we'll talk more about that later. I feel like some of this I want to just leave until next time, but I did want to touch on the Iskarl Pust scene. Josh, we have really not talked about Iskarl Pust this much this book, but he is around and has been at this Temple of Shadow. Well, let me just ask you this. Have you enjoyed him in this book?
I've enjoyed that I get I enjoy Iskarl Pust like I enjoy Fireball whiskey. Just a quick swoop, and then that's it. No more. You know what I mean? He just kind of shows up, he does his things for 8 lines of the book, and then he's gone. And that's beautiful to me. Any more than 8 lines and I'll vomit. just like with Fireball.
There you go. Easy to understand analogy.
Yes, all things in moderation, Peter.
All right, let me just touch on this scene where Bellamnom comes to Stony Monachus, and he kind of confronts her, I would say. India, what did you make of this scene?
Yeah, okay. I hate these parts because it's like, I want to be kind of like brutal and be like, it's time to stop like acting like everything is horrible and nothing matters. And start being a little more, I don't know, like I empathize with Stony, obviously. But this is a book and it didn't really happen. So take what I say. This is not how I would treat a real human in this situation.
But it's a book.
But it's because it's a book. So it's time to but also, you know what? In fairness, actually, I take it back.
Okay.
Stony has been making a lot of moves. She like runs a whole ass school. Like, if her lack of like sincerity is that much of a is that big of a deal, I mean, she's still getting her shit done. So really, do I agree? No. But also like, all right, Stony, come on. Like, just get your groove back, because it's not to say that she's not like doing things. She still she very much has her life kind of together, I would even say. It's just the emotional part is a little rough.
Stony needs a therapist, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I India, honestly, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And I think it's important to like acknowledge that like it's been 5 years since the events of Memories of Ice. And like, I don't know, it feels when we're in these Stony sections, it feels like it was something that happened, 1 year, a couple months ago. Like, I just feel like she's still feeling all of these things very intensely. And like in the earlier chapters when Gruntle is talking about Harlow and stuff, all of these things are obviously she doesn't want to think about these times, but it's just like, just talk to somebody, open up a bit, let yourself feel in the intense pits of despair, but have a friend there to hold you, and then maybe we can move on here. But it feels like we've been stuck in the shadow of these events for the last 5 years. And obviously that, these things loom large in a person's life, but they don't need to be a thing that a person allows to ruin their life forever, I don't know. Maybe that's harsh, but hey, it's a book. Pete's making a face. Pete's making a face.
I know. It's a book.
I don't know, AJ. I don't know.
I agree with AJ too, honestly.
What's your beef with me?
I'm with AJ.
I mean,
yeah, get fucked.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. It's just like not how people be sometimes, So I don't know what to tell you. And I think some things take time. And I agree. I think if Stony was like talking and like doing a lot of journaling and thinking of, I don't know, and doing whatever stuff, sure, yeah, maybe that could have an effect. But I just, I don't know. I guess I feel weird being like, oh, hurry up already. Which
that's not what I was
is
saying.
Maybe an uncharitable way to describe that. That's kind of what I was hearing, or just like feeling like not giving her room for that. But I do hear what you're saying. It is obviously it's always painful to see someone kind of consumed by something like this. But I think being consumed by trauma or being consumed by like kind of terrible experiences is a thing. So I don't know. I just I guess I'm not into bullying Stony like you are.
Okay. I think this is another example of somebody who is kind of a victim to kind of the system and the place they grow up, because like obviously we haven't seen a lot of characters in these books be like, here's how I'm feeling, and I would like that's not a thing that happens because that's just not these cultures or these societies or whatever. So, I'm not saying that she's like wrong for feeling the way she feels. I'm just, I wish she has support, she has people around her. And if she was just able to acknowledge that, I think, I don't know. I think it would be good to acknowledge that stuff for her. I just want Stony to be happy, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm sorry that I don't want her to keep being sad forever like you.
Well, I agree. I think she would.
Bingo.
I agree. I think there is support and I think there is love around her. And I think she is kind of closed off from that. But I do think that's what being depressed can do sometimes. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I like how all of our points have to end with jabs at each other. So, all right. There we
Anyway,
go.
I like that she's gonna go. I like that she wants to go off and save Harlow.
Yeah. Yes.
I like those feelings, but I'm sad that Bellum's like, no. See ya.
Next, Josh, Shard and Lim and Chalice meet, and it's bad.
I don't think they meet yet. Right now, he's just thinking about it. Right? They don't meet till.
They don't meet till the next chapter.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep,
We can talk about it then. So I think the only thing that left really happens is there is the picker stuff, but mostly it's kind of putting an end to the Murillo thing. So let's all pour one out.
Stuff and the Murillo thing.
Let's all pour one out for Murillo, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were a real one, Murillo. That's all I got.
Yeah. Shout out.
Was he an assassin?
No,
he was a nobleman who fucked a lot of people's wives and was pretty good at dueling.
I
Yes.
thought you were gonna say he was pretty good at fucking.
Yeah, I mean, both are true.
His whole thing was I love banging people, and like you know.
Who got banged in the end, you know?
I love when someone just commits to their brand. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. You got to respect he just stood in his truth. My thing, I love
Exactly.
sleeping with your wife. That's my thing.
Yeah. Is that a wife? I'm fucking it.
Is that a wife?
All right. Let's take a moment and thank everyone who supports us on Patreon.
Oh, wait, sorry. The Krupp has a really great line here in this section where they're all in Kroll's bar. Survivors do not mourn together. They each mourn alone, even when in the same place. Grief is the most solitary of all feelings. Grief isolates, and every ritual, every gesture, every embrace is a hopeless effort to break through that isolation. None of it works. The forms crumble and dissolve. To face death is to stand alone. Jesus Christ, Steve. Holy shit.
Yeah, that
man.
one was rough.
Whew. Anyway, let's thank the people on Patreon.
I'm glad you read the quote. It's a great quote.
It's so good, dude.
I feel so torn because like we intro the Patreon thing and then you read this great grief quote and it's like,
I mean, we don't have to intro the Patreon thing, but I can cut that bit out.
no, I mean, it's just a great quote. I mean, I think this section has a lot of great writing on grief. There's a lot of writing on grief in the book in total. And Steve can turn a phrase, well established, you know?
Yeah.
It's certainly very sad, and it can be very isolating when you are very sad. So I have nothing else to say besides, unfortunately, I relate to the quote.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's an unfortunately relatable quote.
And now let's thank our Patreon.
Nice, Ange.
Let's
Perfect.
Let's move on to thanking our patrons.
You know what, though? I'll tell you one thing. All feelings are temporary, but death is forever.
That is true.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, India.
You know what? Yeah.
Death is forever.
In India, while you're taking us on these, I can't think of a word. India, do you want to read the Patreon people?
Yeah, I'd love to. I love to. A wonderful thank you to our lovely, beautiful, strong Patreon members.
Strong.
Matthew, Corey, Nicholas, PL, and Jean, or John,
Or Jean.
or Jean.
Yes, AJ Strong. All of our Patreon members are strong as a fucking ox, and they can lift 100 pounds no problem with 1 foot. Hell yeah,
There you
baby.
go.
Shout
So
out.
Strong and beautiful.
Strong and beautiful and smart. If you want these attributes, you should sign up for the Patreon.
There you go. For just $1, you get access to all of our bonus episodes. I recently just released the Star Trek bonus. In the pipeline is a episode with me, Pete, and Josh talking about tabletop RPGs and the role of actual play and stuff in that space.
AJ,
it's a good combo.
I appreciate you plugging stuff they can actually find on the Patreon, but have you thought about kind of false advertising strength and beauty that they might get if they subscribe to
Oh, okay,
the
yeah.
Patreon?
Also, if you subscribe at the $5 or $10 tier, you'll get $100 in the mail every day.
Wow.
And
Forever.
exclusive access to my OnlyFans.
That's what the people want.
Any higher than that, and your dong will be whatever size you want it to be. I like that one.
about
Or your clitoris.
Or your
What about for the dong? What a really long clitoris.
That's my
Anyway.
thing. My clitoris. Okay, let's move on.
Thank you for not finishing that thought.
All right.
Hey, let's move on to the next chapter, shall we?
Chapter 20. Here we go. Christ. Chapter 20. Kedivus's death is affecting the group. The others want more out of Namander. He buries her out of a human tradition he knows. They get closer to Black Coral, and they all recognize that Clip has changed. That he is different than who he once was. Nananda and Skintick both think that Namander is a true leader. More pilgrims are coming to the camp, and all are offered Kellic. Munkrat watches and wonder if they will all die soon by dragonfire. He goes back towards the Black Coral and bumps into Spindle, and they speak about what is going on. Then they go to Black Coral together. The High Priestess reflect on Animander Rake and Mother Dark, thinking on the necessity of betrayal. A priestess asks if they are in trouble, and she says greater than any other time. The Redeemer and Seer Doman speak about the differences between the crippled god and the dying god. Kalor nears Darujistan. He thinks about what demands he will make of the crippled god. Samar Dev, Karsa, and Traveler pass several standing stones. Samar Dev will not ride Havoc. Karsa thinks about the future and what it would mean to lead people after civilization is ended. Ditch watches Draconis and Kataspala argue about whether or not a godling should be born within Dragnarberg. Draconis feels it's too dangerous, and that the chaos must be kept at bay. Kataspala thinks they cannot keep the chaos out, and it should be embraced. Draconis leaves, and Kataspala tells Ditch the word is kill. Master Quell declares that the Trigal Trade Guild must go somewhere new to repair the wagon. Everyone else is slowly converging on the city of Blue Flame. So, India, would you use leader as a word to describe Namander?
No.
Why do you say that?
Because Namander is all about, like, we should do this. I feel like we should do this. Idea, idea, idea. But if you're not putting any fucking, like, action or tolling the hounds, like, nobody's gonna listen. Nobody's gonna do anything. Nothing gets done. And that's kind of like, I feel like the boat that they're in, which is just like trailing along, doing nothing. And that's why I hate them and their section.
You know, for the sake of let me play devil's advocate.
Okay.
I'm going to say I would say Namander is a leader because I think all good leaders know when the people around them are better at doing things than they are. So Namander, I feel like, is kind of just like constantly deferring to everybody else in the group. And it's like, yeah, you know, but I'll be the one that goes through and gets stuck in the Jaghut bone tower or whatever. But like, you know, the rest of you do, you know, the rest of you take care of everything else.
Take a drink for every time Namander said, let's kill Clip.
Well, they're all
Clip
not
is
killing
alive
Clip.
and fucking well.
I think this is the Clip stuff specifically, I think is like a good move to like, I mean, we've seen what happens when you're like, hey, I know your deal. Like, I think I think you need to wait for a moment to catch Clip off guard.
A good leader, what's the word? Delegates.
Delegates, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys.
I think it's a very interesting thing. I think Namander, I don't think falls in the traditional leader archetype in this genre. Like he is not the quarterback of the team, which I think certainly for me sometimes then when they're like, oh, he has the eyes of a leader and you can look in and see his resolve. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about? Namander? Is that who? We're talking about the same guy? I like in my mind, he is a guy plagued by doubts, not a guy who seems like he's got like some big plan he's always executing. But I do think, to touch on what AJ said, I do think he has some positive attributes. Like he does listen to other people. He is like delegating responsibilities. I think these are good attributes in a leader, Yeah. But I don't think he really falls into that archetype, and I don't know if I really believe he's a great leader for the book I read. So I don't know. I wanted to hear what you guys thought.
Yeah, I've always said great leaders stay up for 50 straight hours and then strangle their sister.
Well, that's why I voted.
Hysterical.
That's why I voted for Joe Biden. Am I right? Well, shout out.
Christ. I'm just imagining Joe Biden awake in a completely dark room for 50 hours. It's really funny.
Just in the bottom of a ship.
Yeah, he's in a boat, yeah.
That's some nightmare shit, bro.
Now, come on. If Joey B is awake for 50 straight hours anywhere, it's on an Amtrak, just going back and forth between D.C. and Wilmington, Delaware, and he just waits.
On the Amtrak, the silent guardian.
That is some niche Delawarean East Coast humor. So,
all right. Well, we did 10 minutes on bagels earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's true.
This one's for the East Coasters.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh. There's also a bit of monk rat talk, and he's kind of touching on the Kellic stuff and what's going to happen with Solanda. What'd you make of this scene, and what do you think's going to happen here?
Well, we get Spindle, and now. Is Spindle hair shirt man?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness. I was like really racking my brain. When the fuck did we last see this guy?
A long time ago.
Right? He went with the people with Duiker, and then he got, I don't know. We don't need to get into it.
I think it was Memories of Ice.
Yes, he went back. He went back with the other bridge burners to Darujistan.
Oh, and then he left. Okay, got it. That makes sense why you haven't seen a while. I mean, look, I was very harsh on the Monk Rat bridge burner reveal, but
yeah.
Let me say this: there are many times in fantasy books that I don't agree with any of the decisions characters make. But Monk Rat is one of the biggest exceptions because he went. I think these guys are too fucking crazy for me now, and then just left. He didn't stay and think, no, I can change them, or no, I'll be the one they don't force to drink the miracle drug. And so I was like, hey, Monkrat, good on you for leaving. And then someone puts a knife in his back, and he's like, all right, I guess this. And I was like, this is some solid choice making from our boy. I also really like that Spindle's like, I don't give a fuck what your name is. And I was like, thank you. I did not want to learn his name is like Flargle Two Cups, or whatever the hell his name is.
But you can call me Two Cups.
Yeah, now he's
of
a
the
bridge
good
burner.
Roby Two Cups? What?
Yeah, exactly. Now his name would be like Thorn or some other vague noun. I thought it was fine. I'm hopeful that this means something will happen here. We have two bridge burners now. You never know what'll happen. And one of them is wearing a shirt made of hair from his dead mom, grandmother, maybe. We don't need to get into it. I'm looking him up. Oh, he's the one that panicked animals. Let's keep going.
So, AJ, there's a bit of conversation here about the differences between the crippled god and the dying god, and maybe what their worshippers want out of them. Did this resonate with you?
No, I mean, these conversations are always kind of interesting. You asked about the comparisons between the Redeemer and the crippled god, but there are comparisons immediately. Sir Damon's like, oh, is what's he say? The fall. He asks about, the dying god and the crippled god. He asks if they're the same, and Itkovian says, no, although certain themes are intertwined.
Yeah.
So I think that is kind of like a all of the gods kind of, certain themes intertwine. But no, I mean, this part didn't super stand out to me, really. It just kind of like I read it in more of just like, oh, this is another section of Seer Daman being like, is the Redeemer the actual way to go? And the Redeemer being like, I don't know, it's up to you. It
is up to them.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting, though, in the last section with Monkrat talking about Celind, he says that she said no believers should arrive willing or something. Mm-hmm. And then there's a section here where Seer Daman says, to defend a god I have chosen not to worship, which I just thought was an interesting parallel.
Yeah, I actually think this is some of the most time we spend with like kind of, I don't know, explicit religious talk in a way. I mean, there are other religious characters, but this is very on the nose. Mm-hmm. There's also speaking, the High Priestess speaks about the Tistiandi, and then we briefly touch in with Kalor, who is trudging towards Darujistan, thinking about his plans. But India, I wanted to touch in about this Samar Karsa traveler trio, and they're talking about kind of what Karsa's plan is, really. I was just curious whether you thought that if Karsa truly would destroy civilization or whether he actually would try and do something about it.
No, Karsa's an angel, and he would try to do something about it. Karsa's not going to destroy civilization. He just wants everybody to, step into their own power.
But if he destroyed civilization, do you think that would be for his, I don't know, like, do you believe him in this, like, I mean, it seems like you do. I
think that Karsa, I don't really know. What even does he want to do, really?
He says he wants to destroy civilization, which I'm not really sure exactly what that means.
But I think that he just means, like, the conventional civilization.
I don't know. He did warn those people that he freed in the desert. It was like, look, go make families and stuff, but eventually I will come and burn your shit down.
Mm-hmm. He could have burnt it down right then and there, though. I think he just wants people to know that he's like he's daddy in some ways, He can, but will he? No, he's not like that anymore, He's reformed. He's a reformed bad boy.
I think this doubt that you're kind of expressing, India, is kind of like the now crux of Karsa's character, where it's like, we've seen him do some terrible shit, and now like he hasn't lifted his sword in like against a person that he's tried to, he didn't lift a sword against the guy in the city or whatever, He
would have killed Traveler right then and there.
Right, exactly. That's like the old Karsa would have done that stuff. So I think he's also, while we're also like, I'm not really exactly sure what he would do. That seems like kind of the old Karsa. I think he, at the same time, is like, what would I do? Like, what do I really want? Like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm. AJ, I just wish you could live in my head and speak my thoughts.
What? You have good thoughts. What do you mean?
You have such an articulate way of saying things that I like.
Josh, so we've done a lot of predicting, but this is, you guys have kind of guessed this a bit. We kind of touch on what this whole tattoo thing has been all about with Ditch. Mm-hmm. So what do you think Ditch is going to do here?
Well, I'm kind of confused because Draconis gave all these bodies to Kataspala and then told him, now don't make a god. And then Kataspala did. And it's like, at some point, I feel like this, immortal being should have.
Don't you do it.
Don't do it.
Fool me once,
I just I was so confused when he showed up. He was like, oh, dang, dabbit, you made a god. And it's like, that you've been here forever. Like, you should have probably picked up on that at some point. But what's going to happen now? I don't know, Peter. How the fuck would anyone know? I mean, is he going to unleash chaos on the real world? I don't know. Is he going to wish them all away? I don't know what a godling can do. I've seen 2 godlings in this book already, and one of them kicks ass and one of them's a Kovian. It's a pretty broad spectrum.
All right, so there's a bit of Trigel stuff, and then we're all headed towards Darujistan. And I think it's about time we get there too. So let's dive in to chapter 21.
Let's Daruja run there.
Chapter 21. Cutter finally arrives at the mine, and he is approached by several men. One of them is Gorlas, who thinks that Cutter is here to confront him about Chalice. After exchanging some short remarks, Cutter goads him into a duel. Then, from afar, the foreman watches as Cutter pushes his knife into Gorlas, killing him. Cutter talks to the foreman about whether the duel was official or not. Cutter then goes back towards the city, reflecting on what has happened to Harlow and himself. Venaz goes to confirm that Harlow and Bainisk are dead, and notices that Harlow is alive and chases after the boy. Chardon Lim goes to the Viticus estate and thinks about the future, what he can do with Chalice, and how he can outmaneuver Gorlas. One of his guards then tells Chardon that Gorlas is dead. He sends messengers to different places and plans to give Chalice the news himself. Chardon starts to wonder if this was a part of her plan, whether she had orchestrated his murder. When Hanat Or hears about the murder, he rallies guards to go to the Phoenix Inn to find justice. Torvald Nam waits on the roof, feeling a strange wind. Scorch and Left feel it as well. Cutter heads for the ship, and inside it he finds not a single soul, but he does find a strange lance that seems warm to the touch. And he hears the cries of hounds. The Hounds of Shadow draw close to the city. Lady Spite conjures a mass of magma and releases it over Lady Envy's estate. Envy escapes, and both are too distracted with their own fight to hear the hounds. Scorch and Left begin to mount an ineffective defense of the estate. Torvald on the roof is attacked and uses some of the sharpers. They become strange globes of water that defend him. Torvald escapes from danger when he sees his cousin Ralik Nam. They speak about their past, and then we see that the mysterious lady of the estate is Vorkon. Harlow continues to run away from Venaz, but Venaz catches him. And although Harlow feels unloved, he doesn't want to die. Hanat Or waits outside the inn, but a strange figure comes stumbling by. It is Gaz. Gaz kills Or, and upon realizing he killed a noble, rushes home. Inside the Phoenix Inn, Cole and the other have one of Hanat's men, and they learn that more guards are waiting to get them. A guard rushes off to find Cole, but is warned by Krupp to beware the toll. The guard follows Gaz all the way back to his house. Gaz arrives and finds Thordy in her backyard, where she kills him upon her altar of flat stones. Then the god of death manifests in the garden. Hood leaves the house and saves the honorable guard, and then sets out into the city. We see death come for people all throughout the city. We see a soul-taken dragon land in the city. Animander Rake has arrived. Envy and Spite note his arrival. Animander Rake walks through the city towards the god of death. And as the city and the night watches, Animander Rake takes Dragnaper and cuts Hood's head clean off. And we are but half done. So, Josh, Cutter arrives at the mines and confronts Gorlas.
Yeah.
How did you think this scene was going to go? How did you react? What did you think?
I mean, I knew where it was going to go immediately. I just look, Krupp laid it out. Cutter or Ralik Nam would show up, and whichever one of them showed up first would go and murder Gorlas Viticus. And if it was Cutter, it would stain his soul, which has happened. I'm slightly confused by that because Cutter has killed a lot of people, or so it has been implied, for money mostly. And so this being for revenge, it confuses me why this one stains his soul. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I feel like if you were like, Josh, which would you feel better about doing? Kill this man for $1,000 or kill the man that murdered your good friend? I'd be like, well, the latter. 100% I would feel better about that one. So that kind of confused me. I did really fucking enjoy watching Gorlas die, though. I said that and it didn't sound good when it came out of my mouth, but I'm going to stand in my truth. I really thought it was very fitting that Gorlas is like, haha, another duel, boy, pick up the sword. And then, Cutter just throws 2 daggers into his body.
He actually definitively, Josh, doesn't say duel because Cutter waits for him to like dispense with the rules of a duel and then daggers him.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty great. I do feel like Cutter probably should have also just murdered the foreman. I know he offered him like, oh, here's how you can be rich out of this. But the foreman still like immediately sent people to go tell people about it. So I don't know how much I liked that. But Gorlas is dead, and that's pretty great. Also, real quick, I got roasted in the Discord for being really hard on the Gorlas is a cuck thing. And I feel very strongly that I was wrong. I'm glad he's dead. He's not a cuck. And Cutter should not ever go back to Chalice. That's how I feel about that.
AJ, do you think he is going to go back to Chalice?
I don't know what this boy's gonna do, honestly. He has this whole bit here about like love and Apsalar and Scalara and stuff. I don't know. Part of me feels like this is just another like feather in his like I'm an edgy boy who doesn't need anybody cap. You know what I mean? So like I don't know, man. It could go either way. I don't think I think maybe he would just go back and be like, hey, Gorlas is dead. But I don't, and then there's going to be some sort of like, but we can't be together, blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my answer is no.
Not gonna lie. I know what happens because this is what I spoiled.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh.
nice.
I really, actually take it back. I want Cutter to go back and to Chalice just so he can be like, I didn't do it for you. Because I feel like if he doesn't do that, Chalice will probably like kill herself or something extreme. So I do want Cutter to go back and just relieve her conscience.
I now have this like really dark thought of like, maybe he does say that, Josh, and then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to kill you. And she tries to kill him and then he kills her instead. And it's really,
that would be
really
fucking
rough.
Juicy.
But we'll see. Luckily, India's face is hidden in shadow.
I know what happens.
Okay.
We get it, India.
How would you feel if I started doing that about everything? So AJ Harlow is on the run.
Yeah.
He has been found.
Well, he's being tracked.
You know what's hard to remember is that Harlow is fucking 5 years old.
Yeah, dude.
This is so sad. This is a baby.
Yeah, it's a baby.
He's not really written like a baby, though.
I mean, he had to mature quick,
So to continue on, I am thrown off. I thought Josh, you told me the last Shard and Lim scene was not when they kind of had, because he shows up here and
He shows up to tell her, we're a thing now, just get over it. But then he intercepts the guard who's coming to, or the guy from the camp to tell him about Gorlas's death. And that's when she sees him. They haven't seen each other. They didn't see each other 2 chapters ago. He just thought about going to see her.
This is where he goes to visit her and she's in her robe or whatever.
Yes.
Her sexy dress.
And she's trying to like put the moves on and he's like, your hubby's dead.
And then she's like,
changes her reaction.
Covers up.
I just want to, don't even ask a question. I think this scene is really impressive.
This scene rules, gotta say it.
This scene's really fucking good. And I think what's incredible about this scene is how much I instantly went from being like, Shard and Lim is not a good person to, I think Shard and Lim is my least favorite person in the book in like one scene, because he's a piece of shit and he doesn't know it. And that made me
he's
really
a nice
upset
guy.
that he's such a bad person who thinks he's a good person. And I didn't like put 2 and 2 together that he thought he was a good dude until this scene, specifically when Chalice's reaction doesn't match what he thinks. And he gets this holier than thou, like, Chalice, I can't believe you've done this. And he's like not putting on a show. He's really upset with her. And it's like, you've been you basically came here to rape this girl, and you're just like, it just made me so upset with him, and it was really well done that he did it so fast. Fuck Sharded Limb.
Yeah.
I thought he was okay earlier this book, and he sucks ass.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. I am not a Sharded Limb fan, and I think you put it very well there. I think another compelling part about this scene is seeing Chalice through his eyes and then reading Chalice's reaction to everything going on. India, what was your read on Chalice here and how, like, where her mind was at almost?
It's very interesting because, like, she's been asking this man to be murdered for a really long time. So for her to be like,
all the time.
no, is like kind of weird.
Do you think that's like a facade she's putting on?
No. Yes. No. I don't know. She's crazy. I don't know. She's unpredictable. She's crazy. So I do believe that she's probably like, I don't know. You know when you want something to happen, but like when it does, you're then like, ooh, I don't know if I wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe-
I liked the idea of it more than I liked it happening.
That's a great pull in, 100%.
I think it kind of goes back to the idea that we were talking about earlier in this conversation with Cutter and Chalice of like, I want my life, but with you, which is the thing that can't happen. And now that Gorliss is gone, she's like realizing like, oh, fuck, if he's gone, then what does that mean for me? Like, what's happening with my life?
She definitely didn't think it through, I think.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Oh, Chalice.
Oh, Chalice.
Oh, that Chalice up to her drinks.
That's
again.
Chalice.
Brap. All right. So there's the start of the Torvald stuff, but let's get to that later. Speaking of them, Cutter goes to the ship, AJ, and what's that on the ship? A little surprise.
A little surprise.
I just wonder if you think this Lance is going to be important.
I don't fucking know, man. I mean, probably, right? Like,
I know.
yeah. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like that. Yeah. There's
you don't.
Some sort of magical lance on a boat, and that looks like it's sweating. Like it's got to be something, right? I don't know.
You don't write down that a character didn't even notice that he took it with him unless it's pretty fucking important that he didn't notice he took it with him.
Right. Yeah, I think
You ever held a lance, Peter? They're pretty fucking heavy,
they're
buddy.
pretty big. I have to guess.
You don't just casually take one off a boat.
Yeah, I'm assuming that somehow this lance, or the blade at least, is like connected to Amtos Falak or something, because if it's sweating, maybe it's condensation because it's so fucking cold, and the regular air is not cold, so it's just like condensating. I don't know, man. Yes, this lance is important. I do think the lance is important.
But he's on the boat, and what does he hear, Josh?
Bing bong. The toll.
The Hounds, the toll, it's happening, baby.
They're here.
They're here. Woof, woof. It's time. We're tolling the Hounds. You can't say we're not, Josh.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Look, you can't say the Hounds are not tolling, okay?
Josh,
Yeah.
the dogs are here. There's dogs in the book, all right? Is that okay?
Wait, Pete. Who let him out?
I can't believe we haven't been making that joke this entire book.
I believe we've made that joke before on this podcast.
On this podcast, not about this book.
Well, it's tough. There's a lot of Hounds. So Spite comes and she kind of whips up a little lava for her sister.
The scene was confusing.
Mm-hmm.
What's confusing? It is a little confusing. I knew it was going to happen, so it didn't confuse me.
Can I ask a quick question? This whole scene, the Torvald Nom scene, and the Lady Spite, Lady Envy scene, all in one place or different places?
In my mind, they're nearby. They're not the same place.
But, okay, so who was on the boat, Spite or Envy?
Spite.
Spite was on the boat.
Okay, so Spite's on the boat. In my memory, Envy was the lady of the mansion that Torvald and them were guarding. Was I wrong? Am I misremembering? I thought Envy was the lady there.
That was Josh Baker's theory, not confirmed. That was not a because
But we knew Envy was. Had we seen Envy at this book, or just known that she was here because Spite knew she was here?
Part of me thinks we've seen Envy, but I don't have a sit. But
we have seen her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We saw Lady Envy talking to Fisher. We've seen those scenes, and then there was a scene where somebody somebody showed up and Fisher left. I can't remember who she was talking to then, but we never saw her like in the complex that
the estate.
Yeah, we never saw her in that estate. That was just like our theory because there was Segula there, which is obviously a mislead to make us think that the lady with Segula is Lady Envy, but that is not the case.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. I played myself.
But to speak to that, so we see all of this, AJ, and then we learn that the lady of the state is in fact Lady Vorkan. This whole thing has kind of been an elaborate scheme by her in a sense. AJ, what do you think of Vorkan's scheme here?
I mean, look, she got me, I guess. She said, I don't want to be involved with the Assassin's Guild. And I said, you know what? Probably right. You're probably true. Probably true. Man, yeah. So yes, it was a good scheme. I think the scheme was good.
You think it was a good scheme?
I mean, it fucking worked.
Yeah, it worked. I don't know. What do you think? You don't think it's a good scheme? I mean, the scheme worked, right? Like, unless I read it wrong.
I guess my opinion is if your plan was like, it feels like a pretty circuitous route. It would be my official opinion.
Yeah, it's not like
Did she murder the entire Assassin's Guild?
Yeah, but isn't she also like, isn't she also a high mage and like Rallick's with her? It just feels like there are many ways to skin a cat, you know?
I do not like that reference.
Yeah, I hate that saying. But Pete, think of the drama, all right? Vorkan lives for the drama.
She did do it for the drama.
Yeah.
Plus, we saw a little bit more of her, but just like, why have, just like, okay, so step one of my plan of getting back to the Assassin's Guild, I'm going to hire Scorch and Left. And then I'm going to try and create them, it's like, what's going on? It's just it's always twisted me around.
Also, is it confirmed that the two Segula playing Knuckles fucking died? Is that right? Isn't that what they said?
I think so.
That's crazy. Scorch and Left survive and the two fucking Segulas beef it.
Well, Scorch and Left have cool names.
It's true. I mean, so did the Segula, if I could remember them.
I actually kind of forget if they die or not, so do not quote me.
I was just looking. Vorkan asks who's left of the guild. Rallick says Kroot, maybe, myself, and then you're right about me and Scorch and Left and those fallen Segula over there. She doesn't care. So I guess
fallen Segula.
I guess they died off screen.
That's what I thought was saying. Yeah, okay. Crazy. Good for Scorch and Left.
I mean, I guess if they're in her, I don't know, man.
So after this scene, India, Venaz catches up with Harlow, and they have a bit of a fight, and Harlow kills him.
Oh, man, I should have brought this up before we got to this section. Fuck.
What?
I had something much lighter to bring up for a second.
All right, well...
You want to bring it up and then...
Well, just the fact that the thing Torvald did to Rallick was steal his childhood girlfriend.
Oh my god,
yeah.
so
He's
funny.
Like, I'm so sorry.
Funny.
And Rallick is like, we were like 8. What are you talking about? Sorry, I just wanted to bring that up.
It is good. It's a good gag. And it's funny that it comes as like, oh, they haven't seen each other in 30 years. And it's like, oh, it's a gag. Steve goes for comedy here. You know?
I mean, that kind of shit does happen,
What?
Just people not talking to each other for a while because one person thinks they did something bad and the other person is like, I guess they don't want to talk to me anymore,
Yeah, pretty relatable.
Yeah.
All right, so before AJ kind of ruined the mood.
Yeah, well, okay.
India, what did you kind of make of Harlow here? I think it's a very sad chapter. Very sad scene, I would say.
Why?
Because he's like, I'm unlovable and then murders a kid. That's why I would say.
I see this totally differently.
Okay. This is a huge W for him.
Okay. He's 5. I can't wrap my head around this, but whatever. Yeah, he's unlovable. Children are stupid. And child psychology is dumb. They are just so dumb. Like, how he thinks that this means he's unlovable, beyond me. All that to say, who is the little child that helped him? Very random. He should have died, but he didn't. And then he killed Venaz, and that's kind of it. I mean, there's nothing more to it. I don't feel any certain way. I'm happy it happened. He didn't want to die, and he now is ruined for life. He's been ruined for life.
Yeah, I think if anyone who thought he was going to go back to the Rujistan and live a happy, normal life, you're kidding yourselves. He was already fucked. So
Immediately fucked.
and now he's not dead. So that's a win.
Thank you. Like, there's really no more or less to say about this.
Then let's say no more. So, building on this death, Hinador meets a quick death by our friend Gaz. And
Gaz.
shout out to Gaz, I guess.
Where all the gas heads at? Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta love him.
All right. So then Gaz gets home, and we kind of see what Gaz and Thordy have really kind of been building up to. Josh, what happens here?
Well, I call this move right here a classic Steve Erickson whoopsie doodle, where whoopsie doodle, she's been working for the god of death the whole time, you know? Oops, all hood, lord of death and flies. You know, that's what happens here, and I really was not expecting that because he was gathering those souls for the crippled god, but joke's on you, your wife murders the shit out of you and uses you to summon the Lord of Hood into the physical realm. So, pretty fucking sick, Peter. 10 out of 10.
It's pretty sick. The stones are all there. And then Gaz is kind of this sacrifice, and then
and let's not talk about Gaz's ultimate redemption, where he just murders Hannah Orr in the street. Hell yeah, 2 birds, 1 Thordy.
Is that redemption? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's redemption, Josh, but
Well, yeah.
so as Hood arrives, we kind of see all of these vignettes of death. Did any of them stand out to you guys?
This part was really fucking good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah?
I don't remember any of them because I don't remember anything I read, but I like them all.
Sure. India, did you like this kind of stylistic choice to have his arrival kind of be shown through these vignettes of death?
I didn't get it, but I was reading. I was not reading. I was hearing.
AJ, what did you make of this kind of montage of death?
No, I mean, it was fine, I guess. I don't know. No, I think it's a great illustration of, you know, God of Death shows up, a bunch of people just start dying for no reason. Or maybe this is when they were going to die anyway, but we're just seeing it because the Lord of Death is here and he's like, you know, taking his toll or something. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was good writing. I didn't really get much out of it.
I think it's a little unclear if he is the cause or not, but I do agree with what you're saying, and I think it's kind of interesting just to see people die in strange ways all the time, and it's not always such a, you know, it's a mundane thing, death, and unfortunately.
Yeah. Seba Krafar dies.
As India says, you know, death comes for us all. Emotions are temporary, death's permanent. I forgot what she said earlier.
Yeah, basically that.
But yes, AJ.
Yeah, so I guess this section ends with Blend killing Seba Krafar,
which is cool. I love that part.
Yeah.
Doesn't kill him though. Stays true to his word.
Oh, that's true.
All right, so let's get to it. So death arrives, but then Animander Rake arrives.
I wouldn't say but then. I would say and also Animander Rake, and also the Hounds, and also
Hey, do we think Animander Rake walked the whole way here, or do you think he walked into the woods away from Enda's Salon and then like 30 seconds later turned into a dragon flew here?
So the Hounds are there. We kind of see Envy and Spite. We see Worrytown, and Hood comes up, and Animander Rake's there, and Animander Rake slices Hood's head off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What did you guys think?
I think in light of learning from Tula Shorn that the Jaghuts fought Death, and that is why they were broken, I feel like, and the fact that Death's armies are currently marching, the Hood must be needed inside of Dragnapur for something. Like this is all leading to something. What though? Who fucking knows? Because it's Malazan, and it's all hard to kind of figure the fuck out.
Do we know Hood's ancestry?
Well, he was implied to be Jagged because he's got tusks coming out of his face.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was. Okay, I was making sure that I'm not misremembering that. So, like, the result of that Jaghut war on Death is Hood taking the throne, right? Like,
oh, AJ, that might be. That's really good.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I'm very concerned. I think Hood knew what he was doing. Sorry, did I interrupt something? I was like fully distracted.
No,
by
please,
okay.
please.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
Like Hood knew what he was doing. And I think his plan was to come into the physical world and then get killed by Animander Rake so that he could get into Dragnipur to then take all of those people and add them to his army.
Yeah, no, you did that. Okay, you did sort of miss because that's what I was. But I didn't make the guess that it's to add to his army. I do think he came to get put into Dragnipur.
Okay. Yes. Sorry, I was really distracted thinking about like, is he Jagga?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
and then Animander Rake falls. You know, they've done a ton in this book of like talking about the weight he carries. And I guess this is our final confirmation that it's like literally like this sword is dragging him down all the time. And he is just like the strongest, the strongest person on earth because he's not constantly falling to the ground with its weight. And he finally does. I thought that was very nice. I was waiting for someone to sneak up and try and murder him now, though.
but you see, the thing is, the night,
Oh, yeah.
only halfway done.
It is but halfway done.
Which brings me to my final question here. What is going to happen in the second half of the night?
Oh, that's our question.
India, what do you think? There's lots of leads-ins. We see a lot of stuff in Darujistan. We see stuff out in Black Coral as well. How does this night end?
This night ends with Animander Rake getting killed by the person that's going to kill him, whose name I forgot. What is the guy?
Endus Salon?
He had the whole Judas and Jesus moment with.
Yeah, Endus Salon.
That's what's going to happen. That's it.
My guess is Cutter will go to Chalice, and oh god, maybe Cutter kills Animander Rake or something crazy though with that spear. Cutter does something dumb. That's my guess. Cutter does something dumb and regrettable.
AJ?
I don't want you to ask me. There's so much shit happening.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, like, I think that the kids are going to arrive at Darujistan.
We didn't even fucking talk about this strange boy who showed up
I said that!
to save Harlow.
No, India
what the hell is
talked
that?
about it.
Oh my god, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Well,
I
everyone
must have zoned.
because nobody said anything. I said, who the fuck is
okay.
that?
Yeah, it's just some boy.
No, yeah, sorry, India. We gotta fucking know. You're right, AJ. They're gonna walk back into town and he's gonna do some shit.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also the Dev Adnan toll of it all. Like, what's he doing now that he's escaped from the mines? Like,
Oh, you're right.
there's so much shit that is unresolved. And
What
man,
the
I do feel like though of all the things, I feel like the Dev Adnan toll stuff is stuff that could be like, this happened and now it's in like one of the novels of the Malazan Empire or something. Like, it's not something we see in these books. Like the stuff with fucking what's his name from Shaik's army. You know, he disappeared
Yeah, it
after
could
Igatan, and then he's in a different book. Anyway, I don't know, dude. So much shit's happening. I think the kids are going to show up. I think Clip is going to try and do something. I think Namander is going to wind up sacrificing his life to save Animander Rake, but I think he's going to fuck it up somehow and like break Dragnipur in half, which is then going to like turn Darujistan into like a pile of dust. I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
Well, I guess we will have to see next time when we wrap up Toll the Hounds here. Thank you for listening, everybody. Let us know what you think of the show at 10 Very Big Books on Gmail and Twitter. And excited to talk next week. I say come, you say passion. Come.
Passion! Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, preparing for a new Dungeons & Dragons campaign tonight. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you'd like to give us your thoughts or feelings about this or any of our episodes, you can always email us 10verybigbooks@gmail.com, tweet us at 10verybigbooks, or you can head on over to our Discord, bit.ly/VBB Discord. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D Discord. That link will also be in the show notes. Thank you to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. Big Books. That link is also in the show notes. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular cover art. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_Dan_G for the hottest Padres takes. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode, including the remixed intro and outro track, is by the one, the only Amaranthan from his album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with his other music on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on August 19th, talking about chapters 22, 23, 24, and the epilogue of Toll the Hounds. We'll talk to you then, and thank you so much for listening.
Did you say godling?
Yeah, like a fresh baby god.
Did you make that up?
Nope, they call it that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
A little fresh
Well,
baby. Fresh little
Indy,
baby
that's 'cause
god right out
Indy-
the womb.
And shut up, it's a joke. Indy, that's because you're listening to the audiobook. You can't see anything.
Hey, shut up, it's a joke.
Peter, shut up. I got a joke to get to.
I'm making a fucking joke.
Exactly.
Fuck off, Pete.
That's my teaching style too. When I have a joke in my head, I will tell a kid to just shut up immediately so I can get that
Not
joke out.
now.
Yeah.
I love that.